Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Earth's Hope and stared at the massive alien structure ahead. The space station was bigger than anything humans had ever built. It looked like a giant crystal that caught the light from the nearby star and threw it back in colors that hurt to look at. The station spun slowly in space, and Jake could see hundreds of different ships docked around it like tiny insects on a flower. "First time seeing the Council Station, Captain?" asked Dr. Ben Tucker as he joined Jake at the main viewing window. The scientist looked nervous, adjusting his glasses every few seconds. "First time for all of us," Jake replied, hard to believe. "We're really here." Behind them, Admiral Lisa Carter checked her uniform one more time. She had been chosen to speak for all of humanity today. The weight of that responsibility showed in the tight lines around her eyes. Colonel Amy Walsh stood beside her, hand resting on her sidearm out of habit.
"I remember."
"We're not asking for much," Lisa said to her team. "Just recognition. It's just a chance to be part of the galactic community." The communication panel buzzed with an incoming message. An alien voice spoke in perfect English, though it sounded like gravel being crushed. "Human vessel Earth's Hope. You are cleared to dock at platform 847. Follow the blue guidance lights." Jake guided their ship through the maze of alien vessels. He saw ships that looked like living trees, others that seemed to be made of pure light, and some that defied any description at all. Earth's Hope, with its simple metal hull and fusion engines, looked like a toy compared to most of them. The docking process took an hour. When they finally stepped off their ship, Jake felt the artificial gravity pull at him differently than Earth's. The air tasted strange, full of smells he couldn't identify. A tall, thin alien waited for them at the dock. It had blue skin that seemed to shift colors in the light, and its face was almost human, except for the large black eyes that took up half its head. "I am Guide Kelter of the Setheri. I will escort you to the council chamber." They followed Kelter through corridors that stretched impossibly far in all directions. The walls were transparent. Jake could see into rooms where aliens of every shape and size worked at tasks he couldn't begin to understand. Some looked almost human, while others were so strange that looking at them made his head hurt. "Many species are in the council?" Amy asked. 847, Kelter replied without emotion. "If your request is approved today, it will be 848. The council chamber was beyond anything Jake had imagined. The room was so large that he couldn't see the far walls through the haze of distance. Floating platforms hung in the air at different levels, each one holding representatives from different alien species. The platforms moved slowly through the air, following patterns that must have made sense to someone, but looked like chaos to human eyes. At the center of it all was the largest platform, where three massive beings sat on thrones that looked carved from black stone. The middle figure was clearly in charge. It looked like a dinosaur that had learned to walk upright and wear clothes. Its scales were deep red, and its eyes glowed like hot coals. "That is Supreme Chancellor Zekthara of the Vorthok Empire," Kelter whispered. "His people have led the council for over 3,000 years." A small platform rose from the floor and stopped in front of the humans. Kelter gestured for them to step onto it. The platform began to move upward and forward, carrying them toward the center of the chamber. As they rose, Jake could see more of the aliens around them. A platform nearby held beings that looked like walking crystals, their bodies catching and reflecting light in brilliant patterns. Another platform carried what looked like a cloud of purple gas with glowing spots that might have been eyes. A third platform. Creatures that resembled giant spiders worked at control panels with their many legs. The platform stopped in front of Supreme Chancellor Zekthara. The alien leader looked down at the humans with obvious disgust. When he spoke, his voice boomed through the chamber without any need for amplification. "So these are the mammals from the third planet of Sol," Zekthara said. "They look even more primitive than the report suggested." Admiral Lisa Carter stepped forward and gave a formal bow. "Supreme Chancellor, I am Admiral Lisa Carter, representing the United Earth Federation. We come before this council to request recognition as a spacefaring species and membership in the galactic community." A sound like laughter came from several platforms around them, but it wasn't friendly laughter. One of the crystal beings spoke in a voice like wind chimes. "Recognition. You have barely learned to leave your own star system. What could you possibly offer to this council? Dr. Ben Tucker moved forward, carrying a small device. If I may, Supreme Chancellor, I would like to present some of humanity's achievements. He activated the device, and holographic images appeared in the air around them. The first image showed a hospital on Earth. We have conquered most diseases that once killed our people, Ben said. Cancer, heart disease, genetic disorders, we can cure them all. The next image showed a fusion power plant. We have learned to harness the power of stars. Our energy production has increased by 1,000% in the last 50 years. More images followed. Cities that reached into the clouds, computers that could think faster than any human brain. Spaceships that could cross the solar system in weeks instead of years, but the aliens around them seemed unimpressed. A being that looked like a cross between an octopus and a tree spoke from a platform to their left. These are the achievements of children playing with toys. Show us something truly advanced. Ben's final image showed Earth's hope itself. Have achieved faster than light travel? We built this ship in our own shipyards, using our own technology. This brought more laughter from the alien platforms. Supreme Chancellor Zekthara leaned forward on his throne. Your ship uses primitive fusion engines and crude FTL drives that we abandoned thousands of years ago. My personal transport ship is more advanced than your greatest achievement. The crystal being spoke again. And what of your species' history? You wage war on your own kind. You poison your own planet. Cannot even agree on how to govern yourselves. Why should we trust such creatures with the technology and knowledge of the Council? Before Lisa could answer, another alien joined the discussion. This one was from the Sithari, the same species as their guide. It looked like Kelter, but older, with scars across its blue skin. My people have been observing Earth for many years, the Sithari said. We have watched humans fight wars that killed millions of their own kind. We have seen them destroy forests and pollute oceans. They are violent and destructive by nature. They are not ready to join civilized society. Perhaps they will be ready in another 1,000 years, said the spider-like creature, if they do not destroy themselves first. The debate that followed was brutal. One after another, alien species spoke against humanity. They called humans primitive, violent, dangerous, and unworthy. Some suggested that Earth should be quarantined to prevent humans from spreading their violence to other worlds. Admiral Carter tried to defend her species. She spoke of human art and music, of their capacity for love and sacrifice, of the progress they had made in just the last century. But her words seemed to fall on deaf ears. Finally, Supreme Chancellor Zekthara called for silence. The Council will now vote on the human request for recognition and membership. The voting was quick and brutal. Platform after platform lit up with red lights indicating rejection. Not a single green light appeared anywhere in the vast chamber. The final count was displayed in glowing numbers above the Chancellor's throne. 847 votes against, 0 votes in favor. The request is denied, Zekthara announced. Furthermore, the humans are restricted to their home star system. Any attempt to establish colonies or permanent settlements beyond the orbit of their outermost planet will be considered an act of aggression against the galactic community. As their platform began to descend, Jake heard the aliens around them, returning to their business as if humanity had never existed at all. The rejection was complete and absolute. The trip back to Earth's hope passed in stunned silence. Once they were safely aboard their ship and heading away from the station, Admiral Carter activated the communication system. Earth Command, this is Admiral Carter reporting mission results, she said, her voice carefully controlled. Request denied. All terms rejected. We are ordered to remain within our solar system. President Kate Sullivan's voice came back immediately. From Earth, understood, Admiral. Turn home immediately. But Jake noticed something in the President's tone that wasn't quite right. There was anger there, yes, but also something else. Something that sounded almost like satisfaction, as if this rejection was exactly what she had been expecting. Admiral, Jake said quietly, do you think the President has a backup plan? Lisa Carter looked at him with tired eyes. I hope so, Captain, because if we're going to be treated like children, maybe it's time we stopped asking for permission. 5 years had passed since the humiliation at the Galactic Council. On the surface, Earth had followed the alien orders perfectly. No human settlements existed beyond Neptune. The small fleet of Earth ships stayed within the solar system, conducting research and mining operations on asteroids and moons. But deep beneath the ice surface of Pluto, General Amy Walsh looked at screens that told a very different story. The command center was carved from solid rock, invisible to any alien sensors that might be watching Earth's solar system. Hundreds of technicians worked at control stations, coordinating operations that spanned dozens of star systems. Status. Report, Amy said to the young officer beside her. 18 mining operations active, General Lieutenant Chris Stone replied, reading from his tablet. The automated stations are collecting materials from asteroid fields in 7 different systems. The aliens think they're just space rocks drifting through empty space. Amy smiled coldly. The mining stations looked exactly like natural asteroids from the outside. Inside, human technology stripped valuable metals and rare elements that were being shipped back to hidden construction facilities throughout the outer solar system. On Titan, Dr. Ben Tucker worked in laboratories that existed officially as climate research stations, but the real work happening there would have shocked the aliens who thought humans were primitive. Ben and his team had been reverse engineering every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. Show me the stealth test results, Ben said to Dr. Susan Lane, his chief physicist. Susan activated a holographic display that showed a sleek black spaceship hanging in space. The new coating absorbs 99% of all scanning frequencies used by known alien species, she explained. A ship could fly right through the middle of a Vorthok fleet, and they would never know it was there. But the stealth technology was just the beginning. Working with captured alien devices that had been quietly acquired through back-channel trading, Ben's team had made breakthrough after breakthrough. Their new energy shields were stronger than anything the Galactic Council used. Their weapons could punch through alien armor, like it was made of paper. The most important discovery had come from studying an abandoned alien probe that had drifted into Earth's solar system decades earlier. Hidden inside its memory banks were star charts that showed the locations of thousands of alien worlds, along with detailed information about their defenses and populations. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his new ship and marveled at how far they had come. The shadow of Terra was unlike anything in the old Earth fleet. Black as space itself, it was invisible to most sensors, and faster than any alien ship they had encountered. The bridge was filled with displays showing real-time information from across the galaxy. Signal from Colony 7, reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Kelly Rogers. The settlement is fully established and operating under full stealth protocols. Jake nodded. Colony 7 was just one of 43 secret human settlements now scattered across the galaxy. Each one was carefully hidden on worlds that the aliens considered worthless or empty. The colonists lived underground or in camouflage structures that looked like natural rock formations from orbit. The first secret colony had been established 3 years earlier on a planet the aliens called Barren Wasteland. Colony Administrator Helen Grant had led 200 volunteers on a one-way trip to what everyone expected would be a difficult life on a hostile world. Instead, they'd found paradise. The planet had vast underground water reserves, soil that was perfect for Earth crops, and mineral deposits that made the colonists rich beyond their wildest dreams. More importantly, it was over 100 light-years from the nearest alien settlement. Message from Colony 12 came another report. Security Chief Major Pete Collins reports contact with local wildlife. The creatures appear to be intelligent, but non-technological. They seem friendly. This was another surprise that kept coming up. Many of the worlds that aliens had marked as uninhabitable or useless were actually home to primitive species that the galactic powers simply ignored. The humans had made peaceful contact with dozens of these species, offering protection and technology in exchange for friendship and local knowledge. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Dan Foster met with his inner circle in a room that officially didn't exist. The president was a former military commander who had been elected on a platform of making humanity strong among the stars. Most voters thought that meant building better spaceships and expanding mining operations in the solar system. Had no idea how right they were. The shipyard's report completion of the 50th stealth vessel reported Defense Secretary Gary Hughes. Admiral Morrison's fleet is now larger than the official military forces of most Galactic Council species. And they still have no idea we exist outside the solar system, added Intelligence Director Maria Santos. Our counterintelligence operations have been perfect. Every alien spy probe that enters our space gets quietly disabled and replaced, with a duplicate that sends back exactly what we want them to see. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent message from Dr. Ben Tucker's research team. The scientist appeared on the main screen, barely able to contain his excitement. "Mr. President, we've made a breakthrough that changes everything," Ben announced. "Psst. We've successfully created artificial wormholes. Not the crude FTL drives that aliens use, but true instantaneous travel across any distance." The room fell silent. President Foster leaned forward in his chair. "Explain." "Traditional FTL requires ships to enter a parallel dimension and navigate through it," Ben continued. "It takes time and leaves energy signatures that can be detected. Our wormhole technology creates a direct tunnel through space-time. A ship can travel from Earth to the far side of the galaxy in seconds, and the tunnel leaves no trace that anyone was ever there." The implications were staggering. With this technology, humanity could move ships and supplies anywhere in the galaxy without anyone knowing. They could establish colonies on worlds thousands of light years away and resupply them instantly. "How long before we can implement this fleet-wide?" President Foster asked. "The first equipped ships will be ready in 6 months," Ben replied. "Full fleet conversion within 2 years." As the meeting ended, President Foster looked out at the night sky through his office window. Somewhere up there, alien species continued their ancient games of politics and power. Believing that the primitive mammals from Earth were safely contained in their home system, they had no idea that humanity was already among them. Dr. Carroll Nash was proof of just how far human reach had extended. The xenorchaeologist worked on a world so far from Earth that alien maps didn't even have a name for it. Her team had been excavating ruins that were older than the Galactic Council itself. "These symbols are definitely artificial," Carol told her assistant, Dr. Frank Peters, as they studied markings carved into ancient stone. "But they don't match any known alien language." The discovery that followed would shake the foundations of everything humans thought they knew about the galaxy. Deep beneath the ruins, Carol's team found a chamber filled with murals that told the story of an ancient civilization. The beings depicted in the artwork looked remarkably human. According to these images, this species ruled most of the galaxy. Millions of years ago, Carol explained in her report to Earth, they built vast cities, explored countless worlds, and developed technology that makes current galactic civilization look primitive. Then they vanished, leaving behind only these ruins. The most shocking discovery was a star map carved into the chamber's ceiling. It showed the locations of hundreds of similar ruins scattered across the galaxy, all hidden on worlds that the current alien powers considered worthless or empty. "We might not be as alone as we thought," Carol concluded. "And we might not be as primitive as the aliens believe." Back on Earth, President Foster received regular reports from the growing network of human colonies and operations. Each report brought news of new successes, new discoveries, and new capabilities. The mining operations were producing enough resources to build 100 ships a year. The colonies were thriving and growing, their populations doubling every 18 months. The intelligence network had infiltrated alien communication systems so thoroughly that humans often knew what was happening in alien space before the aliens themselves did. Most importantly, human technology was advancing at a rate that shocked even the scientists who were developing it. The combination of human ingenuity and reverse engineered alien technology was producing results that neither could have achieved alone. "We're ready for the next phase," General Amy Walsh reported too. The president, during their weekly briefing, "Our stealth capabilities are perfect. Our weapons are superior to anything the aliens have, and our ships are faster and more maneuverable than theirs. We have over 200 vessels ready for deployment and 43 established colonies, providing support." President Foster nodded slowly. And the aliens still think we're restricted to the solar system? Their latest intelligence reports describe humans as a minor species showing signs of technological progress, but remaining properly contained, Amy replied with a grin. They have no idea what's about to hit them. 10 years had passed since the Galactic Council's rejection, and panic was spreading across alien space. Ships were disappearing without a trace. Entire colonies went silent overnight. Trade routes that had been safe for thousands of years became death traps where vessels simply vanished. Supreme Chancellor Zekthara stared at the tactical display in his command center on the Vorthok homeworld. Red markers showed the locations of missing ships and silent colonies. There were hundreds of them now, scattered across the Outer Rim territories. "Show me the pattern analysis again," he ordered his intelligence chief. The display shifted to show attack timelines. The disappearances started 18 months ago in the outer spiral, the intelligence officer reported. Always isolated targets. Always complete disappearances, with no distress signals, no debris, no survivors. What do our sensors show? Nothing, Supreme Chancellor. No energy signatures, no weapon traces, no evidence of any kind. It's as if the ships and colonies simply stopped existing. Zekthara's claws scraped against his throne. In 3,000 years of Vorthok dominance, nothing like this had ever happened. His empire's advanced technology could detect a single alien bacterium from across a star system. But these attackers remained completely invisible. The council sessions had become chaos. Every species blamed every other species. The crystalline Shimoria accused the machine-like Nixari of conducting secret military experiments. The gaseous Florian suspected the insectoid Kessel swarm of territorial expansion. Even the peaceful Cytheri were starting to question their allies. Perhaps it's an invasion from outside the galaxy, suggested Ambassador Kelter during one heated debate. Unknown aliens with technology we've never seen. Impossible, declared the Shimori representative. Our deep space sensors would detect any fleet large enough to cause this level of damage. What none of them knew was that Admiral Jake Morrison was watching their debate from his flagship, the Shadow of Terra. Human intelligence had infiltrated alien communication networks so completely that Jake could listen to their most secret meetings in real time. They still have no idea what's happening to them, Jake said to his tactical officer, Commander Ryan Bell. Ready the next wave of operations? The human strategy was elegant in its simplicity. Instead of launching massive attacks that would reveal their presence, they struck like ghosts. Small task forces of stealth ships would identify isolated alien settlements, disable their communications, and then make the inhabitants disappear. Most of the aliens were not killed. Colonel Mike Torres led the ground operations that captured entire populations and relocated them to detention facilities on remote human-controlled worlds. The aliens were treated well, but kept completely isolated from any means of communication. Target acquired, reported Major Kelly Rogers from her position, orbiting a small mining colony in the Vega system. Population of 800 Cytheri. Civilians. No military presence detected. Begin the operation, Jake ordered. Remember, complete communication blackout first. The attack followed the standard pattern that had been perfected over dozens of previous operations. Stealth ships moved into position around the colony while specialized jamming equipment disabled all communication systems. The aliens never knew they were under attack until human. Soldiers in advanced power armor appeared in their streets. The entire operation took less than 6 hours. By dawn, the colony was empty, except for automated systems that continued broadcasting normal status reports to fool any passing alien ships. The Cytheri colonists were already on their way to a comfortable but secure facility on New Terra, Humanities. First Major Colony World, General Amy Walsh, coordinated these operations from her command center in what had once been empty space. New Terra was located in a star system that alien maps marked as uninhabitable. In reality, it was a garden world with perfect climate and abundant resources. The aliens had simply never bothered to look closely. Operation Ghostwind is complete. She reported to President Dan Foster during their weekly briefing. We now control 312 star systems. Total human population across all colonies has reached 2 billion. The numbers were staggering. In just 10 years, humanity had grown from a single world species to one of the largest civilizations in the galaxy. More importantly, they had done it without any alien species realizing what was happening. The technological advantage was even more dramatic. Dr. Ben Tucker's research teams had made breakthrough after breakthrough. Working with captured alien scientists in hidden laboratories, they had unlocked secrets that the galactic community had never imagined possible. The genetic modification programs are exceeding all expectations, Dr. Lisa Park reported from her terraforming facility. We can now adapt human colonists to breathe any atmosphere and survive in any climate. A world that would kill unmodified humans in minutes can be turned into a paradise in just a few months. Meanwhile, Intelligence Director Maria Santos was conducting the most successful psychological warfare campaign in galactic history. Her agents spread carefully crafted rumors through alien communication networks, making each species more suspicious of the others. The Vorthok are convinced that the Shimori are behind the attacks, she reported. The Shimori think it's the Nexari. The Nexari suspect the Florian. Each species is pulling back from their neighbors and strengthening their defenses against the wrong threats. The strategy was working perfectly. The unity that had held the Galactic Council together for millennia was cracking. Ancient rivalries were resurging as fear and suspicion spread through alien space. The turning point came when a Vorthok exploration fleet stumbled across a human mining operation in the Kepler 442 system, the same system where humanity had first been rejected by the Council. The aliens had detected unusual energy readings and sent ships to investigate. Admiral Morrison received the alert while reviewing plans for the next series of operations. Vorthok Battle Group, approaching Mining Station 7, his communications officer reported. 12 heavy cruisers and escort vessels. Jake smiled coldly. He had been waiting for this moment. Signal the fleet. All ships converge on Kepler 442. It's time to give the aliens their first real look at what humanity has become. The human response was overwhelming. Within hours, over 50 stealth ships had surrounded the Vorthok fleet.
How the aliens
found themselves trapped in a sphere of enemies they couldn't see or detect. This is Admiral Jake Morrison of the United Earth Federation, Jake announced on all frequencies. You are trespassing in human space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. The Vorthok fleet commander responded with typical arrogance. Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Galactic Council space. Identify yourself and prepare to be boarded. You still don't understand? Jake replied. You're not in Council space anymore. The system belongs to humanity now, as do 300 and 11 others. The Battle of Kepler 442 lasted exactly 17 minutes. The Vorthok ships were some of the most advanced vessels in the galaxy. With shields and weapons that had dominated space warfare for thousands of years. Against human technology, they were helpless. Human energy weapons cut through Vorthok shields like they weren't there. Alien sensors couldn't lock onto targets that remained invisible even while firing. When the Vorthok tried to retreat, they found their escape routes blocked by human ships that had appeared from nowhere. Not a single human vessel was even damaged. The entire Vorthok battle group was destroyed without being able to return fire effectively. The recordings of the battle reached the Galactic Council within days. For the first time in their history, the mighty Vorthok Empire had suffered a complete military defeat. The implications were terrifying. How is this possible? Supreme Chancellor Zekthara demanded as he reviewed the tactical data. Our ships reported being attacked by ghosts. Their sensors showed empty space even while being hit by enemy fire. His military advisors had no answers. The attacking ships used technology that was centuries ahead of anything in the galactic database. The energy signatures were completely unknown. Even the tactics were unlike anything any species had ever encountered. Sir, his intelligence chief said hesitantly, there's something else. Before the attack, The unknown fleet commander claimed to represent something called the United Earth Federation. Zekthara felt his blood turn to ice. Earth, the primitive mammals we rejected 10 years ago. It seems impossible, sir, but the voice patterns match Admiral Lisa Carter's translator recordings from their council appearance. The truth was almost too shocking to believe. The primitive humans that the council had dismissed as barely capable of interstellar travel had somehow become a major galactic power. More than that, they had been operating under the council's nose for years without being detected. Emergency sessions were called. Fleets were mobilized. But as the aliens scrambled to understand what was happening, human operations continued across the galaxy. More colonies disappeared. More trade routes became unsafe. The mysterious attacks that had been happening for months suddenly had a name and a face. President Foster received the intelligence reports with satisfaction. The aliens were finally starting to understand that they were dealing with something far beyond their comprehension. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's 3,000-year history. Representatives from all 847 species gathered in the crystal chamber, but instead of the usual orderly debate, chaos filled the air. Accusations flew between platforms. While military reports painted an increasingly desperate picture, Supreme Chancellor Zekthara looked older than his centuries of age as he read the latest intelligence briefings. In just 6 months since the Battle of Kepler 442, over 500 more star systems had gone silent. The mysterious attackers were no longer hiding. They struck openly now, overwhelming alien defenses with technology that seemed impossible. The Rigel system fell yesterday, reported his military advisor. 12 defensive platforms, a full battle fleet, and 3 million Shamori civilians, all gone in 4 hours. Survivors? Zekthara asked, though he already knew the answer. None. Found, just like all the others? The pattern was always the same. Human fleets would appear without warning, destroy all military resistance, and then make the entire population vanish. No bodies were ever found, no prisoners taken that anyone could locate. It was as if entire civilizations were being erased from existence. The debate in the council chamber grew more heated, as species after species reported similar losses. The crystalline Shamori had lost 40 colonies. The gaseous Florian were down 30 systems. Even the mighty Vorthok Empire had been forced to abandon dozens of Outer Rim territories. "We must combine all our fleets," demanded the Nexari representative, its mechanical voice cutting through the noise. "This threat is beyond any single species to handle," agreed, said Ambassador Kelter of the Sethri. "But combined against what? We still cannot detect these human ships until they attack. Our sensors show empty space right up until the moment they open fire." It was true. Human stealth technology had proven to be completely beyond alien understanding. Ships that should have been visible from light years away remained invisible until they chose to reveal themselves. When they did attack, the battles were swift and one-sided. The session was interrupted by an urgent communication from the outer monitoring stations. A massive unknown fleet had been detected approaching the council station itself. Signatures matched the mysterious attackers that had been devastating the galaxy. "Impossible," breathed the Shamori representative. "No one would dare attack the council directly." Supreme Chancellor Zekthara activated the station's defensive systems. But even as warning alarms sounded throughout the facility, he knew it was hopeless. If these humans could destroy entire Vorthok battle groups, the council's defenses would not even slow them down. Then something unprecedented happened. Every communication system in the chamber activated at once, displaying the same image. Human male sat behind a desk in what appeared to be a simple office. Behind him, through large windows, the lights of a city sparkled under an alien sky. "Citizens of the Galactic Council," the human said in a calm, measured voice. "I am President Daniel Foster of the United Earth Federation. 18 years ago, you denied humanity recognition and ordered us to remain within our home system. I am here to inform you that humanity no longer requires your permission for anything." The chamber fell silent. Every alien representative stared at the human leader in shock. This was impossible. The primitive mammals from Earth could not have Become a galactic power in such a short time. President Foster gestured, and the image behind him changed to show a map of the galaxy. Red dots began appearing across the display, each one representing a star system. As the aliens watched in growing horror, nearly a quarter of the galaxy turned red. The 643 systems you see marked belong to humanity now. Foster continued. We have colonies, military bases, and industrial facilities throughout what you considered your territory. We accomplished this without your knowledge and without your consent. The image shifted again, showing the view from a starship bridge. Through the windows, an enormous fleet stretched to the horizon. Thousands of sleek black warships hung in formation, their dark hulls reflecting no light. Admiral Jake Morrison appeared on screen from the bridge of his flagship. President Foster speaks the truth, he said. The human fleet currently surrounds every major council, world, and military installation in the galaxy. We could destroy all of them within hours. If we chose to do so, Supreme Chancellor Zekthera felt his ancient heart skip a beat. The tactical displays around the chamber were confirming what the humans claimed. Sensor contacts were appearing throughout council space as human ships dropped their stealth systems. They were everywhere. This is impossible, the Shamori representative said weakly. Your species barely achieved interstellar travel 20 years ago. President Foster smiled coldly. You underestimated us. That was your first mistake. Your second was believing that we would simply accept your rejection and stay quietly in our corner of space. The transmission continued with more shocking revelations. Dr. Ben Tucker appeared on screen from a massive research facility. Behind him, alien scientists of dozens of species worked alongside humans at advanced equipment. We have solved the galactic energy crisis, Tucker announced. Zero-point energy extraction, unlimited power from quantum vacuum fluctuations. We are prepared to share this technology with species that recognize our legitimate territorial claims. The offer was as stunning as it was strategic. The energy crisis had been plaguing galactic civilization for centuries. Entire wars had been fought over diminishing power sources. If the humans truly had unlimited energy, it would revolutionize everything. General Amy Walsh appeared next, broadcasting from orbit around the Vorthok homeworld itself. You have 72 hours to formally recognize human sovereignty over our claimed territories, she announced. You will also grant Earth's full membership in the Galactic Council with all rights and privileges. Refusal will result in the systematic conquest of every council world. The transmission ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only become a major galactic power, it apparently surpassed every other species in the galaxy. The debate that followed was desperate and chaotic. Some species called for immediate surrender. Others demanded a fight to the death. The Sethri delegation, led by Ambassador Kelter, argued for negotiation. Look at what they have accomplished, Kelter said, his blue skin pale with shock. In 18 years, they went from a single world to controlling a quarter of the galaxy. Their technology surpasses our own. Our military has proven superior to anything we can field. Perhaps it is time to admit that we were wrong about them. Never, snarled Supreme Chancellor Zekthora. The Vorthok Empire does not bow to mammals. But even as he spoke, reports were coming in from across Vorthok. Space. Human fleets had appeared in orbit around every major world. Defensive installations were being systematically destroyed. The choice was becoming clear: surrender or face complete annihilation. The turning point came when Dr. Tucker's promised demonstration of human technology was broadcast across the galaxy. A single human ship approached a dying star and deployed. A device no larger than a shuttle. Within minutes, the star's energy output increased 1,000-fold as 0 point. Extractors began harvesting unlimited power from the quantum vacuum. The technology was beyond anything the galactic community had ever imagined. Species that had spent millennia struggling with energy shortages watched in awe as humans casually solved problems that had seemed impossible. On the second day of debate, smaller species began breaking ranks. The aquatic delphinians were the first to formally recognize human territorial claims. The insectoid Kessel swarm followed hours later. Over 200 species had voted to accept the human terms. Supreme Chancellor Zekthara held out until the final hour. Only when human ships began systematically disabling Vorthok defensive platforms did he finally cast his vote. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Vorthok Empire had been forced to surrender. The final vote was 847-0 in favor of recognizing humanity's territorial claims and granting Earth full Council membership. The primitive mammals that had been rejected 18 years earlier were now the dominant power in galactic civilization. 6 months later, President Foster stood in the new Council chambers aboard New Geneva Station. The facility had been built by humanity in neutral space, using technology that made the old Crystal Station look primitive by comparison. Representatives from all galactic species attended, but the power structure had completely changed. Morrison commanded the largest fleet in galactic space. General Walsh oversaw colonies that spanned hundreds of worlds. Dr. Tucker's laboratories produced technologies that other species could barely understand. The most symbolic moment came when a group of children from different species played together. In the station's gardens, a young human girl named Emma Clark was teaching alien children how to play a Earth game called tag. When a young Cytheri asked how humans had become so powerful, Emma just laughed. "We didn't like being told we couldn't. Play with the big kids," she said simply.